Hey all, Tony Bing here. Hello and welcome to my lethal weaponry endgame build for Black Widow for Marvel Heroes Omega for PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. Now with this build we have a nice simple range build. We avoid the voltage mechanic because whilst it can be a whole lot of fun, it can be quite tricky to manage, so we went simply for the regular range skill so we don't have to worry about any kind of resource management. Now in this video I will cover the skills and talents. I'll also look at the synergies. We'll check out the infinity point allocation, and this is where we would place the first 100 points. We then look at the general gear and priority, and at the end we finish up with some gameplay where we have a run through of an operation with a full bounty clear as well. Now if you want to jump to any particular section, check out the description. There is a timestamp for each section there. Otherwise we'll start off by looking at the skills. For the skills here then we have a very nice simple rotation that we basically rotate every 8 seconds, so nice and easy there, and all our skills bar 1 are tagged as ranged. Now the main filler we use is Bullet Barrage, so this is great. It fires in a line and it pierces the enemy, and through talents we've got it so that it adds a dot for 2 seconds as well. Now this greatly benefits from attack speed because it has a high base attack speed, so do bear that in mind when you are itemising for Black Widow. Now the next skill we have is anti-personnel grenades, so this provides vulnerability, nice damage packet. The vulnerability is for 8 seconds and it stuns for 2 seconds. Now although it doesn't say it on the tooltip, it does have an 8-second cooldown, so when you throw this down you're putting down your vulnerability but you're also starting off your timer, so I like to keep an eye on this as it lets me know when I should restart the whole cooldown again. But the next skill we have is Widow's Kiss. So with this it works as a dot, it will weaken and slow the enemy, and the duration of that is 8 seconds as well. We then have Rolling Grenades, so you've got your damage as the grenades go out, you've got the dodge portion, and again you've got an 8-second duration on the dot on this. And then we have Micro Drones, so this works with an 8-second cooldown. The actual duration of the skill is 2 seconds, but it's a nice hard hitting dot, and that's twice per second, so you'll get 4 ticks out of this. And then the final cooldown skill we have is Coup de Grace, so it hits for a nice amount, 8-second cooldown once again, 100% critical hit chance, and it's also an execute, and that's why we're using it at the end of our rotation there, because we've got the health so low, and then we fire this off and we'll be doing additional damage. Now the final skill we look at is Twilight Cloaking Device. This is a great signature. It will fully restore your voltage, but voltage isn't too important with this build setup. Works as a dot, slows and stuns the enemy, and it also will make you invisible and give you a whopping 1500 damage rating and health regen as well, so there really is a lot on that. But next up we'll have a look at the talents. For the talents then we start off with Swift and Silence. This gives us an additional dash, and our dash is called Silent Killer. So you have the additional charge and it actually adds an extra 2 seconds onto the stealth duration of it, and on top of that you get a 5-second buff to attack and movement speed, and it's a 15% buff, which is really pretty nice there, and we will be using our dash often because this will tie in with our legendary that we'll look at in the gear section. But the next talent we have is Lethal Weaponry. So with this particular one we're using it because Bullet Barrage, which is our main filler, will gain that dot for 2 seconds. We then have Fistful of Grenades. So rolling grenades gains the following effects: an additional 15% damage, throws out another 5 grenades covering the entire screen, and the cooldown goes from 3 seconds up to 6 seconds. Next up is Drone Swarm. So micro drones effect occurs a second time at no extra cost, so that's pretty useful there. And then finally we have a buff that makes our signature even more awesome, so this is never know what hit them. So Twilight Cloaking Device, your signature, applies concealed and empowered as well, so that really is fantastic. And with the buff you get for damage already, the 1500 damage, it means when this is up you'll be doing an insane amount of damage numbers with it. But next up anyway, let's have a look at the synergies. For the synergies we start off by looking at the 2 primary attributes, and Black Widow's lucky enough to have fighting and intelligence, 2 of the best attributes in the game. Now the heroes that cover that are Beast and War Machine. Our more generic synergies are Blade, Hawkeye, Hulk, She-Hulk and Squirrel Girl, and finally the synergies that work great on her because they're either tagged range or gun would be Black Widow, Iron Man and also Punisher. But next up we'll look at the infinity point allocation, and this is where we would place the first 100 points. For the infinity setup then we're going from something a bit different from our usual mind gem. We're going for the time gem and temporal loophole. So this provides a 12.5% movement and attack speed buff. Now on top of this, through the mastery, when we use your med kit you restore a charge of your dash, and you also gain an additional charge on your dash as well, so it pulls you up to 4 charges there, and this will be important when we look at the legendary. And on the subject of the legendary, let's check out the gearing priority now. For this gearing section then, what I will do is give some general tips on how you want to gear for this particular setup, and that means when new items come out in the game you can apply these tips to help you decide whether or not you want to move about your items. Now all builds really start off with a legendary and then you build round that, so perfect fit for Black Widow in this build is the special issue emergency communicator. So when you dash, which counts as a stealth skill, and that ties in with the infinity system and us getting an additional dash, so when you do that you gain 750 damage rating, 1500 crit hit rating for 10 seconds. She also has a flat 1500 brutal strike rating on this as standard. You have the rank 4 proc where a summon come in, a shield summon, so it fits thematically and it can pull some aggro for you, and then you have the rank 5 that works great as well. Now next up we look at the medallion, and all our skills bar one are tagged range, so it really has to be the Mandarin medallion here until potentially at a later date a stealth style medallion comes out that could maybe pip this, but in the moment we want to go for the Mandarin. We then have the relic, and again because we're heavy on the range side of things we're going for the relic of Xandar. Now when it comes to your artifacts and your slots 1 to 5 and your ring, because she has 1500 crit hit rating and brutal strike rating, and also on top of that her primary attributes are fighting, which gives a crit rating multiplier, and intelligence, which gives crit damage rating, you can really get some amazing damage numbers on her. So you want to concentrate more on the damage side of things, so that would be attributes, and the attribute that I would say to go for because of the high critical hit rating and brutal strike rating, I would say go for intelligence, because crit damage rating that comes from intelligence will feed into your crit rating and also your brutal strike rating as well, so it really can work great there. But with the gearing setup covered, what we'll do is show off some gameplay, have a run through of the Odin's Palace operation when we face off against Curse. As always I will mention, and you can probably see I don't have her massively geared out at the moment, we can see we've got some super heroic gear here and we don't have a leveled legendary. So this gameplay segment is purely to show off the rotation in the build. It's not to show off how she performs in best in slot gear, because I don't have it and I don't have time to gear out all the heroes that I do these videos for at the moment. But I hope you do enjoy this gameplay. If there's any questions feel free to ask, and I'll see you all again soon.
vanquished.
Where is the challenge? You sure you want to fight me, lover?